Topic 12. Protection Mechanisms. Part 3. Intrusion Detection and Prevention Systems. IDPSs combine tried-and-true detection methods from intrusion detection systems with the capability to react to changes in the environment, which is available in intrusion prevention technology. As most modern technology in this category has the capability to both detect and prevent, the term IDPS is generally used to describe the devices or applications. When an IDPS detects a violation, it activates the alarm, which can be audible and visible, or it can be a silent alarm that sends a message to a monitoring entity. Systems that include intrusion prevention technology attempt to prevent the attack from succeeding by one of the following means. A. Stopping the attack by terminating the network connection or the attacker's user session. B. Changing the security environment by reconfiguring network devices to block access to the targeted system. Or C. Changing the attack's content to make it benign, for example, by removing an infected file attachment from an email before the email reaches the recipient. All IDPSs require complex configurations to provide the appropriate level of detection and response. These systems are either network-based to protect network information assets, or they are host-based to protect server or host information assets. IDPSs use one of two detection methods, signature-based or statistical anomaly-based. A host-based IDPS works by configuring and classifying various categories of systems and data files. Unless the IDPS is very precisely configured, benign actions can generate a large volume of false alarms. During times of routine operation, the system will provide alerting for only a few urgent reasons and will provide recording only for exceptions. Host-based IDPSs can monitor multiple computers simultaneously. A network-based IDPS monitors network traffic and when a predefined condition occurs, notifies the appropriate administrator. The network-based IDPS looks for patterns of network traffic. Network IDPSs must match known and unknown attack strategies against their knowledge base to determine whether an attack has occurred. These systems yield many more false positive readings than do host-based IDPSs because they are attempting to read the network activity pattern to determine what is normal and what is not. A signature-based IDPS or knowledge-based IDPS examines data traffic for something that matches the signatures, which comprise pre-configured, predetermined attack patterns. The problem with this approach is that the signatures must be continually updated as new attack strategies emerge. Another weakness of this method is the time frame over which attacks occur. If attackers are slow and methodical, they may slip undetected through the IDPS, as their actions may not match a signature that includes factors based on duration of the events. The anomaly-based IDPS, or behavior-based IDPS, first collects data from normal traffic and establishes a baseline. It then periodically samples network activity and compares the samples to the baseline. When the activity falls outside the baseline parameters, also known as the clipping level, the IDPS notifies the administrator. The advantage of this approach is that the system is able to detect new types of attacks as it looks for any kind of abnormal activity. Unfortunately, these IDPSs require significant processing capacity as they must constantly attempt to match activity to the baseline. In addition, they may not detect minor changes to system variables and may generate many false positive warnings. Just as with any alarm system, if there is no response to an alert, then an alarm does no good. IDPSs must be configured using technical knowledge and adequate business and security knowledge to differentiate between routine circumstances and low, moderate, or severe threats. A properly configured IDPS can translate a security alert into different types of notification. A poorly configured IDPS may yield only noise. Most IDPSs monitor systems by means of agents, software that resides on a system and reports back to a management server. A valuable tool in managing an IDPS is the Consolidated Enterprise Manager. This is software that allows the security professional to collect data from multiple host and network-based IDPSs and look for patterns across systems and subnetworks, collecting responses from all IDPSs used to identify cross-system probes and intrusions. An attacker who suspects that an organization has dial-up lines can use a device called a war dialer to locate the connection points. Dial-up connections are usually much simpler and less sophisticated than internet connections. For the most part, simple username and password schemes are the only methods of authentication. Radius and TACACS are systems that authenticate the credentials of users who are trying to access an organization's network via a dial-up connection. Typical dial-up systems place the authentication of users on the system connected to the modems. A remote authentication dial-in user service, Radius, centralizes the management of user authentication by placing the responsibility for authenticating each user in the central Radius server. When a remote access server receives a request for a network connection from a dial-up client, it passes the request along with the user credentials to the Radius server. Radius then validates the credentials. The Terminal Access Controller Access Control System, TACACS, works similarly and is based on a client-server configuration. Organizations that continue to offer dial-up remote access must deal with a number of thorny issues: determining how many dial-up connections the organization has, controlling access to authorized modem numbers, using callback whenever possible, and using token-based authentication if at all possible. Most organizations that make use of wireless networks use an implementation based on the IEEE 802.11 protocol. The size of a wireless network's footprint depends on the amount of power the transmitter and receiver wireless access points emit. Sufficient power must exist to ensure quality connections within the intended area, but not so much as to allow those outside the footprint to receive them. War driving is moving through a geographic area or building, actively scanning for open or unsecured wireless access points. Two most common encryption protocols used to secure wireless networks are WEP and WPA. WEP, Wired Equivalence Privacy, provides a basic level of security to prevent unauthorized access or eavesdropping. Like a traditional wired network, it does not protect users from observing each other's data. It has several fundamental cryptological flaws, resulting in vulnerabilities that can be exploited, which led to replacement by WPA. In general, my students in the forensics class learn how to exploit and break WEP encryption in under 5 minutes with the proper tools. WPA is an industry standard created by the Wi-Fi Allowance. IEEE 802.11i has been implemented in products such as WPA2, which introduce newer, more robust security protocols based on the advanced encryption standard. WPA and WPA2 provide increased capabilities for authentication, encryption, and throughput. WPA and WPA2 do, however, have some compatibility issues with older wireless access points and network cards. Both WPA and WPA2 can use any IEEE 802.1x authentication server. WPA2 can be broken if the passphrase used is small enough. My advice is to provide a passphrase of at least 15 to 20 characters. The next generation of wireless networking is WiMAX, or Wireless MAN, essentially an improvement on the technology developed for cellular telephones and modems. WiMAX is developed as part of the IEEE 802.16 standard and is a certification mark or stamp of approval that stands for Worldwide Interoperability for Microwave Access. Bluetooth is a de facto industry standard for short-range, approximately 30-foot, wireless communication between devices. The Bluetooth wireless communication link can be exploited by anyone within range unless suitable security controls are implemented. In discoverable mode, devices can easily be accessed. Even in non-discoverable mode, the device is susceptible to access by other devices that have connected with it in the past. By default, Bluetooth does not authenticate connections, but it does implement some degree of security when devices access certain services like dial-up accounts and local area file transfers. The only way to secure Bluetooth-enabled devices is to 1. Turn Bluetooth off when you do not intend to use it, and 2. Do not accept an incoming communications pairing request unless you know who the requester is. It is possible to restrict access to a wireless network to a pre-approved set of wireless network card MAC addresses. One of the first management requirements is to regulate the size of the wireless network footprint by adjusting the placement and strength of the wireless access points. Select WPA or WPA2 encryption over WEP and protect pre-shared keys.